There's something I've been thinking about lately. We spend so much time searching for things in life: love, peace, clarity, acceptance. But what if the reason we're searching for them is because we've already felt them at some level within ourselves? Because I'm starting to realize you can't really recognize something in the world that you've never touched within yourself. So the other day, I got a notification from YouTube that my YouTube channel had hit 1,000 subscribers. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love. It's appreciation on my end, and I'm humbled and will forever be indebted to you guys. This idea of YouTube subscription hitting 1,000 is an external marker of work that came from within. Before I started filming myself doing this podcast and just sharing my ideas of how I see and view the world, I remember I was trying to figure myself out. And there was a moment where that process was ugly. I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I didn't really know how to approach this quote unquote thing that I had felt during phone call conversations with my friends. So my friends used to have this thing where they would tell me, if you really want to talk to Greg, you got to book at least 2 hours, just because of how in depth I would always want to know how their life is going or what they have going on currently. I always felt like that's something that I had innately captured as a gift. And they would jokingly tell me, like, hey, bro, you should think of doing a podcast. But I didn't really think too much about it because at the time, there was just a whole lot going on. But that voice never went away, you know? The more I kept exposing myself to new connections, that same theme kept coming up. I started to realize the more work I did within myself, the more it was becoming possible for me to actually pursue this on the outside world. So this whole story made me realize I don't think we desire things randomly. I think we have to get to a point where we just recognize them. So those small moments and little phone calls and conversations that I used to have with friends, they're usually fragmented truths to what we truly desire within ourselves. So I remember after going through a vigorous period of my life where I decided to just be sober and listen to myself, I started to realize that this whole thing had been within me this whole time. At the time, it wasn't even fully developed. I didn't even have a name or a concept for what this gift was. But I knew there was a part of me that had already touched this ability to communicate ideas about life. And if it genuinely didn't exist in you, you wouldn't even know how to look for it. So during that process, I started cultivating self love. And if you've ever experienced self love, even briefly, you really start believing love is possible outside of you. Not because someone told you, but because you felt it. So I remember coming to a point where I started to understand the difference between chasing something and recognizing something. Because beforehand, if I was to do this same thing at that time, I think I would have been operating from a place of chasing validation. I want people to think I'm smart or I have a platform. Like those were things that would have fueled me back then. But when this happened, there was more of recognition rather than chasing and validation, because I started to understand what exactly it is that I wanted to do. And there was no way I was going to understand that if I didn't experience the self love within myself. So at the time, I put my first video out. I was scared to death and I never knew what the journey might look like. So I was open to gamifying the experience and just live life because that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't really about the subscribers or the views or the followers. Because at the beginning, you only have 2 views, and 2 of those views is your sisters posting on their stories to say, "Hey, my brother just dropped this episode." And I'm not saying that I'm a big YouTuber or anything, but I think when I see things manifest outside myself, I start to understand that it's really possible once you believe it inside of you. At the beginning, you have to really genuinely believe that this is something that is meant for you. Throughout that journey, the most important thing was I was trying to really gain awareness of my mental health and figure myself out from within so that I could have meaningful connections externally. A big part of the journey was I just didn't feel fulfilled with the friendships and the connections that I had built to that point based on the persona that I felt like society had placed on me. So I wanted to really create a frequency that was in tune with people who are also doing what I was trying to do. And it allowed me to see the work that I had done on my mental health, started relating to people completely differently. And it was very easy to see that shift because this was not something that I learned at school, but this is just through life experiences that I had gone through, you know? So the biggest change and shift that I observed was inner work doesn't change you, it just expand what you believe is possible within you. And once something feels real within you, it becomes available outside of you, which was the case for me in this journey of becoming Limitless Stories. Limitless Stories was never going to be something that exists to this day if I don't really go back within to tap into myself, to listen to myself. And in current society, we are so distracted, scrolling, addictions, and we just don't want to sit still. It's very hard to meet yourself if you can't listen to yourself. And a big part of stillness is it brings awareness. And once you're aware of what your subconscious is trying to signal you to do, that little voice that keeps telling you this is what you should be doing, it becomes really hard not to follow that voice. But you have to give it the space and the environment to tell you what it's trying to tell you. So every external thing that you see outside on other people where they seem like that they have their life figured out, they are pursuing their dreams and passions. All this is available to you. You have a voice inside you, and that voice is something that can bring inspiration and change to the people around you and to the world around you. I've seen it manifest in my own journey, and I'm just here to share the experience. So maybe the life you're searching for isn't something you need to find. Maybe it's something you need to build within yourself first. Because once you do, you won't have to convince yourself it exists. You'll just know. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what's something you're hoping to experience in your life that you haven't fully allowed yourself to experience from within? And what would you change if you started there? This was your weekly reset. Subscribe if this resonated, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for the 1,000. It's all love, and I hope to grow with you every single day.